All right, so we have two things we want to do right at the end. Our last assignments, and that's the tear sheet. If you remember back to web assets, we did this: photography, image manipulation, 3D textures, caricature, organic drawing. So these are all of our assignments that we did. And so what we want to do is create the tear sheet, but then come back and also populate everything inside here too. So that'll be a nice way to kind of look at how we can present some of these things and kind of finish it off. So the first thing I want to do is make a new document. So I make the tear sheet. So Sarcona tear sheet. Just gotta get my sheet together. The width for this, we're gonna do a 10 inches wide by 8 inches high at 300. Okay. And this is just a good resolution to use because if we were to print this out on paper, an 8 by 10 is a nice size to be able to fit basically into any medium. Now, if you're taking some of these pieces and actually printing them, you'd want to do this separately, but this is just showing you what a tear sheet is. So all the stuff we've done, we want to drop into the tear sheet. So I'm going to grab everything here. So I do Control A, Control Shift C. I go to my tear sheet. I Control V it, Control T it, and I can drop it in there. Okay. Now, this is not a smart object, right? You can see it doesn't have the icon. So before I do any of that stuff, I want to make sure I right-click on the layer and say Convert to Smart Object, then hit Control T and then shrink it down. That way, in case I need to resize it, I'm gonna have no problem doing that. Okay, so I'm just setting it off in the corner. Then I'm gonna close that one because I'm done, and then I'll go to this one. There's another one. Control Shift C, go here, Control V, right-click, convert to a smart object, Control T. Oops, make sure that when we resize it the correct way. Alright, again, I'm just kind of placing it for now. You'll go through all of your images and do that. So I'm not going to show every single one, but I just want you to see the process. Now, when we get to something like this, where we have multiple images, I want to show these off in kind of like a neat way, right? So for our window, we have actually 4 images for this. So I'm going to go to my window color, and I'm just going to do Control A to copy it, or Control A to select it, Control C to copy it, and I'm just going to paste it into any one of these. It doesn't matter which one I go to. I just need to grab all of my window images and paste them into the same one. Now I'm not using my PSD, I'm just using the actual targas inside there. So if you look in this file, I have basically every single one of those images that we used. So what I'm going to do is on each one of these, I want to grab a section. So I'm going to grab this, try to divide this basically into fourths. So if this is 22 inches, a fourth would be about 5 inches, right? Or 5 and a little bit. 5.5. So that's pretty close right there. No one's going to sue us if we're not right on. So I click that, and then I go to Layer Mask. Okay, so now I have a layer mask right there. So now I can just control click this and then slide that over. And now I need to basically grab the next section for the next one. Now if I forget where this is, I could always, alt click it to see where it's at and then drag it over right to the end. It's kind of like a quick cheat way to do it. Then I just go to the next one and then layer mask on that. Then I go down to the next one and then we do the same thing. So I control click that, drag it over here, and it's not really obvious to see where that is now. There we go. And another layer mask. There we go. So now we can see every one of these items. Now this one's a little bit, it's the same thing, right? Because if we disable this, the only difference here is just that piece of glass that's broken. So it's not going to be a huge deal, but we'll just leave it like that anyway. Okay. I'm also missing a piece. You can see that's kind of cut out. So I'm just going to grab this and then control click that over and control click that over. That way we're filled in. Okay, so there's our window, so I can copy this, go back to the tear sheet, paste it, convert it to a smart object, Control T, shrink it down, set it off to the side. Okay, so there's the window. I can close this, I'm done with it. Go to the brick, do the same thing. Copy that, paste it here. And then this one will only 2 images, so basically cut this in half. About 7 inches is where that is. Layer mask, cool. I may want to grab the other side of this, so I can click this and hit Control I. Yeah, that's fine there. All right. So I'm gonna grab everything, Control Shift C, Control V, make this a smart object, Control T, shrink it down. And there we go. Okay, so every one of your images, you're going to do this too. So your photo, let me jump back to my web assets. Your photography, your image manipulation, your 3D textures, your caricature, your organic drawing, your hard surfaces, your photo collage, and then of course your TearSheet obviously is what we're creating, so we wouldn't have an image for that. Our web page is right here, so let's also grab that. Control Shift C, Control V, make this a smart object, Control T it, shrink it down. Drop it over. There we go. Okay, so you're going to drop all these images in here, okay? And then you're going to add just a title in here so we know whose it is. Sean Sarcona, MACA 1320, Intro to Photoshop. Okay, so there's where what my title looks like. And again, you can customize the font, maybe make your name a bit bigger. It'd be kind of neat if it fit perfectly, like 33.75. That's close enough. So my name fits like perfectly right there. That's kind of neat. All right, so I'm just going to drop that off into the corner, and then I can rearrange all the other items inside here. So I can go to this one and just, give this a rotation like that. I can go to this one and rotate it like this. Obviously, don't flip them upside down. Don't cut them off where it's important. And you just want to create just an interesting kind of look for this, okay? And the idea is that you're just kind of showing off your pieces of work kind of all in one section. Okay, so obviously you'll have more of these on here. I don't need to show each one. All right, cool. So once this is all done, then we'll just save this as work, TearSheet, Sarcona TearSheet. Make sure we have layers, make sure we save it, make sure we hit OK. Cool. So now the TearSheet's done. All right. So now let's jump over to, close that. Now let's jump over to this, photography, image manipulation, all this stuff. So what I can do is I'm going to, now that we have all the images basically inside here, there you go. So this is our web page. We don't need that one. I do need my textures though. So I'm going to right click on this and duplicate the layer. I'm going to send it over to my web page. And where are you at? There he is. Already dropped in. That's a weird spot. You dropped in like the middle of one of my layers, so I can just pull this out of here for a minute. Just put it on top. Come on, get up there. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just kind of size this down and to fit. Now for 3D textures, we only have we have 2 different ones, so you can pick which one you want to use. So basically, I'm just going to shrink this down until it covers the entire circle. Again, we can give it some rotation if we need to. Make it kind of fit. Cool. And then I'm going to go into my TearSheet, and inside of my buttons, and inside my button, I'm going to find the 3D textures one. There he is. I'm going to drop him down into this, and then what I'm going to do is Alt click between these 2 layers. Oops, sorry, backwards. I'm going to put this underneath this one, okay, because this is my button. I'm going to Alt click that, and then turn it off. There we go, finally. So you see I had to put it between the 2 layers and then Alt click it. I don't know why I was thinking it was the other way. So now I have my textures loaded right here. Okay, now there is an overstate. I don't care about the overstate now. I just want to have a nice little image that we could kind of show that off. So then I would go to my next one. This is probably my other textures. It is. This is my photo collage. So again, I will duplicate it. I will bring it to my web assets. It drops in here. That's no big deal because I can just go to where I have my image manipulation, drop it between the 2 layers, find out where that image is. There he is. Just hit Control T and it brings it in. And the reason it's so big is because this image is pretty small compared to the rest of the stuff we did. Okay, so now there's my photo collage. So again, we kind of find like a good angle for this. Kind of like that. Cool. And then we Alt click between the 2 layers. And Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Whoopsie doozers. I'm on image manipulation, not photo collage, which is up here. Someone should have told me that. There we go. Okay, now if we decide it's not in the right spot, we can always move it because it's just its own layer. So you can find a good spot for that. You can also knock down the opacity if you're not liking how opaque these are, which I'm not. I wish they were just a tad bit kind of blended in some. And then you'll do the same thing to this. So here's my image manipulation, the actual one I was just doing. Duplicate it, drop it into web assets. Cool, dude. Find out where image manipulation is. We should know where it was because I was just there. Drop him onto this. And again, you're not going to fit the entire thing in there. That looks stupid. You want to just find a good area for it. So maybe like that, you know, just kind of like in the middle. Alt click between these two. Boom, there it is. Maybe knock the opacity down a little bit. Awesome. Sweat. Okay, so same process. Do it for it all. And then you're just going to save this as, and then just drop it into your web page assets. But put final. Okay, that way I know it's your final web page assets, and I know that that's in there. Now, if you do this part is not required, you will get 2 extra points of credit. So anyone who wants extra credit, see how easy that was to do after all your assignments are done. It's just that simple. Awesome. So that's it. All right. So we'll turn those in. Make sure you put them in your Dropbox folder. This is our last week. Let's save that. So we want to make sure that we have all of our stuff in. If you have anything that's outstanding or anything that you're not sure of, make sure you get it in or ask a question about whether or not it's in. Check your grades, especially throughout the week, making sure you have all your stuff. And then again, let me know if there's any questions. The last week is usually a pretty easy week because we're just kind of wrapping things up. And that's where we're at. So cool. Hope you had fun in the class.